Right, so welcome everyone. We are going to launch the book Jumbos on the Edge, which has been written by Sanjeev K. Chadha. And the chief guest for today is Soumitra Dasgupta, who is going to launch the book. Very briefly, let me introduce you to both these eminent gentlemen. Sanjeev Kumar Chadha is an Indian Forest Service officer and Managing Director, National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India Limited, NAFED. He has worked extensively on issues related to conservation and sustainable in management of natural resources in the state of Odisha and the central government at New Delhi. Joining him as chief guest is Soumitra Dasgupta, Additional Director General Forests, Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, GOI. He is also the CITES Management Authority and Whaling Commissioner for India. Wide experience in the field of forest and wildlife conservation makes him eminently suited to be the chief guest at this very special book launch, Jumbos on the Edge, which is dealing with the very touchy issue of elephant conservation. May I now request you to release the title, and we will have a video which will play while we see the book.
Should we stand up?
You can, yes, that will be nice.
But we have to balance delicately.
Yeah. May I now invite you to ask your questions and have a conversation about the book. Would you like to talk about the book first?
There was a video clip.
That is apparently going to be played later.
Okay.
First of all,
Why don't you tell us a little about the book and then you can have the conversation.
Okay. Thank you. Let me first thank WOW for organizing this event. I think for release of the book, this is the best part of the country where we should have this kind of book to be released, because elephant and man conflict, if we see, that is aggravated in this part of the country to the maximum. So I'll just tell you with my experience of last 3 decades, I have been monitoring this elephant management and related issues for last 3 decades in eastern part of the country. So as you have the serious challenges in managing the conflict in Bengal, especially in the southern part of the state where Soumitra has worked extensively. So in Odisha also, in last 3 decades, the landscapes which were contiguous, which were full of very dense forests, have deteriorated in past 2-3 decades. And the fragmentation of habitat has led to the elephants moving out into the inhabited areas. Now elephants, as they are the largest land animals which we have here. So they need to migrate in search of food, water, and once their habitats are fragmented and they are unable to migrate, so they have to then live within the constrained area, and they move into the human habitations. Often they come into conflict. Now very often we see in this part of the country elephants dying out of hits with the trains, elephants being poisoned, elephants being electrocuted, and then especially we find that hundreds and thousands of people running after the herds of elephants, driving them away. All these are common sights so far as southern part of Bengal and Odisha are concerned. In other parts of the country also we have similar challenges. Now, stating a problem is very easy, but now coming out with solutions. And you know, India, as we are on a growth path, we are looking at 1 trillion the economy. So as we grow, our development needs are also changing very fast. We have fast moving highways, we have fast moving railway lines, bridges, canals coming up, transmission lines. So all these linear infrastructures, they crisscross elephant habitats all over the country. So what they do is they fragment the habitat further, and it makes extremely difficult for the animals to move out of their areas in search of food and water. So as managers and policy makers, we have a huge challenge, especially in Bengal and states of Odisha, parts of Chhattisgarh. So how do we, because people say that elephants belong to the department, they should control it. So it's very difficult to basically deal with this situation in the field. And then when the development projects are coming up, now very fast you'll see the highways are being 4 lane, then 6 lane, then 8 lane. And when forest department says no, this will further fragment the habitat and elephants will not, their corridors will be fragmented, then they say no, these people are stopping the development. So we have to strike a balance somewhere. And you know, next to, as I have dealt with in the last chapter, the last coming 2 decades are going to be very crucial for survival of elephant in this part of the world, because we have a serious challenge. The sex ratio is getting skewed, and males are being eliminated from the population, and the gene pool of the core areas is also getting constrained, and it's getting fragmented. So if future generations have to see elephants outside in the wild, I think this is the time when we have to work together with all the stakeholders, policymakers and stakeholders. Stakeholders, in this case, we have highways, we have railways, all the stakeholder departments, they have to come, we have to come up together, and only then we will be able to ensure that our future generations see elephants in the wild. So we have some practical solutions in the book, and I hope that this will be very useful for not only as the managers of the wildlife habitats, also the policymakers and the development departments in the country who use the elephant landscapes for different projects. So I'll stop here, and Sumitro heads the wildlife department of the country. So fortunately he belongs to this part of the country. Bengal is his cadre. He has extensively worked and dealt. I have seen him in one of the districts. I visited him where he was day and night running after the elephant herds and controlling them. So I'll request Soumitra to make a statement on this, and what is being done at the national level.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Firstly, I must thank this fora who have all assembled here, and it's such a beautiful evening. I never expected that I will be in a literary evening with all amongst you. So thank you, Sanjeev, for bringing me here, and thank you, Valley of Words, for organizing this program. Yes, as Sanjeev has said, it's a very sensitive issue, and I always keep on saying, because it's such a burning matter, in every parliamentary session in the Ministry of Environment and Forest, at least 15% of questions are all associated with human-elephant conflict from all over the country. And we know that elephant is the national heritage animal. It has its own cultural, ecological, economical values. But in spite of all this, we also are aware of the fact that the human-elephant interface, the negative interface, is increasing day by day. You may not be knowing that around 500 people die average every year due to human-elephant conflict, and 100 elephant also dies every year due to multifarious reasons. So it's a very serious matter, and from our side, from every state governments, from the ministry, we are trying to do our level best. But we need certain inputs or augmentation from certain qualified contributors like Sanjeev, who can bring about some qualitative changes through the propositions that he has come up in his book. You will also appreciate the fact that India is an aspirational country, and we can't stop development. As a forester, I'm saying this because we face all these kind of issues in the National Board for Wildlife. The conservation and development should happen hand in hand. It cannot be one having a more of a, sort of weight rather than the other one. It has to happen together, and we need to have certain structural mitigative measures in place which should allow this balancing between development and the conservation should go hand in hand. And what I've read in Sanjeev's book, there are certain measures that he has proposed in the book which will help us in developing the linear infrastructure in the project, which is of utmost importance, like road, canal, the pipelines, the gas line. Certain propositions I have read which are absolutely practical, and this will help eventually the planners here in the state governments to plan their projects in the future. So we needed in this kind of input, and I have been personally associated with the release of the book in the ministry. Our honorable minister was also there, so this is perhaps the right fora here in the eastern part of the country, which is also known to be the cultural capital of the country, West Bengal, which from where I hail. This is my cadre, and I also know Dr. Ridesh Mohan. I think I have not worked with you. Okay. So I have known him. He was the forest secretary for some time. He would have also faced this kind of issues in the past, and this is going to happen. This is going to increase in the future, and the mitigative steps that Mr. Chadha has pointed out will eventually be helping in the long run for conservation of elephants in the country. And I know for sure this part of the country, the eastern zone, other than Bengal, Odisha, Assam is also one such state where the condition is acute as far as the human-elephant conflict is concerned. And I'm sure this will be helping, this will bring about a paradigm change in the mentality of the people of managing elephants in these conflict-ridden states of the country. In fact, maybe because he is my batchmate, maybe that is one of the factor, but also the quality of the inputs have made me write to all the chief wildlife warden of the state to at least use this book, which has got qualitative contributions and which eventually will be helping elephant conservation in the country.
As a part of my PhD work, we worked on a US Fish and Wildlife sponsored project where we had to come out with changes in the cropping patterns. In elephant conflict areas, we often find that people doing paddy as a major crop. So in case we have to reduce the conflict, what alternative crops are there where farmers also do not face reduction in their income. So that kind of work has also been, because in the villages which are deep inside the forest areas who face the depredation the most, so there how we can change the cropping pattern to reduce the conflict. So that is one of the recommendations which has been made in the book. And second major policy recommendation is that we must have mitigation measures included at the planning stage itself of the project, not as the afterthought. I'll just explain one. In our state, Odisha, we had a major irrigation project. It was World Bank funded project. It came up, canals, left canal, right canal, it came up. But then we had never thought of any crossovers or bridges or any mitigation measures for the population, and it was a major population, elephant population in that area. So that led to acute conflict, and after 10 years of project being completed, the mitigation measures were implemented. So that kind of thing we can avoid, and we have recommended different structures. Sanjeev Chopra sir comes from Uttarakhand, so there we have major problem in Rajaji National Park, Corbett National Park. So I have suggested certain designs which can come up in different landscapes, what kind of designs should be there as a mitigation structure. So I think all these things, if we incorporate in the projects right in the beginning, so the conflict can be balanced with the conservation needs of the country.
One thing which Sanjeev is not pointing out, perhaps it's not possible for him to do so, let me do that. In fact, his team is here. The NAFED team is here. He has turned around NAFED from a loss-making organization to a major sponsor. Yeah, yeah. Now he's in the position to sponsor. In fact, from the NAFED, he has taken up many wildlife-friendly issues. One thing which he was trying to mention is alternative cropping pattern. This is one of the best solution that the experts have provided for controlling the elephant-human negative interaction. But for that, we need to have some sort of connectivity with the marketing of those alternative crops that the farmers will be growing. So NAFED, with the help of a Global Tiger Forum, has taken up a project which will be enabling NAFED to purchase the crops, the alternative crops that the farmers grow, and this will enable the farmers to grow the crop, and at the same time this will dissuade the elephants coming to those areas. So he deserves a big hand for that also.
Thank you. Sumitra, one of the important interventions which we are making in Sundarban area is promotion of infrastructure for
Honey.
collection and treatment of honey which is being collected by thousands of beekeepers in that area. And Sundarban honey is world famous, you know, for its qualities. So we are setting up an infrastructure of spending 10 crores in that area, a place called Canning, where farmer producer groups, they are coming together, and honey will be processed there. A research lab will come up there, and we will brand it nationally and internationally. Sundarban honey will be made available to the population at large.
This is very important because from Bengal Kada, you know that that part of the country is very poor. So a lot of people are forest dependent. To wean them away from the forest, we need to have some alternative livelihood option. And some of the villages also veer into the forest. Sir, if you can recall that there were deaths, tiger kill of the honey collectors. So that's a marvelous project that he's taking up that will enable the farmers now or the local people who are staying there to have the apiculture within their village. And they are going to certify it, they are going to market it, and at the same time they will be processing it. So they are making some investment. I think while coming in the car, he was telling he's going to invest initially 10 crores. So that itself is, you know, a sign for helping the locals, which eventually will be helping the forest department.
Another important thing, I think, is Sanjeev Chopra sir is a historian. I leave it as a food for thought. When Dr. Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister, we came out, Parliament promulgated an act called the Forest Rights Act. Forest Dwellers Rights Act. So that's the act which came up. So it basically was introduced to address the historical injustice that has been done. Like, you know, during the British time, most of the forests were declared as reserved forests, where it was presumed that the rights of the people who live at the fringes were not settled at that point of time. And there was an injustice done to those people. You know, if you see the history of forest administration in the country, it started with the Germans, then Britishers came, and it's well documented. So, post-independent, you will have hardly, you can count on fingertips how many reserve forests were created, because most of the reserve forests were created during the British time. But the act which has come up, the cut-off date for historical injustice is 2005, and it's being extended time and again. More and more claims are being, large number of claims are motivated claims. The calculation which I have given in my book, I think it must have crossed 93, 94 lakh claims were received, whereas lakhs of acres of land has been distributed to the people who have made claims, and around 45 lakh claims have not been accepted because they were not found up to the mark. Now here is a situation which we are facing as a country where more than 25 lakh acres of land is being distributed, forest land is being distributed, and what kind of fragmentation it is causing in the area, because the population which is going to live in those areas is likely to come in conflict. So we must put our foot down somewhere as policymakers also, that historical injustice cannot continue like this in perpetuity, because you know the whole premise on which the act has come is the reservation of forests. Reservation of forests has not happened for decades now because of our land laws and all. It has not happened. So as a country now we have to think, because the land mass is same, it's not going to increase. And if we have to balance our conservation needs, because you know there is a COP happening in Glasgow right now, which is very important for the survival of the planet. So climate change is happening very fast. We are facing, Bengal faces lots of, Odisha also faces lots of cyclones, super cyclones, whatever names we give them. So this is causing a lot of damage to the human population in the country. So we have to somehow balance the needs of the people and needs of the conservation, because future generation, you know, water needs are going to be met by out of forest only. Carbon sink, if we see, the biggest carbon sink is the forest which we have. So our national policy states that we must have 33%. Right now we have around 23, 24%. If we keep on distributing lands like this, that I think we will be moving much away from the stated goal of 33% of forest land mass under forest. So I think these are some of the issues which I have raised in the book, and our policymakers and the public at large, researchers who are doing research in this field, I think they can make good use. And some of the practical recommendations can be adopted by the Forest Wildlife Departments in their daily working.
This book should not be restricted to the Forest Department.
Yes, in fact, let me add.
Yeah.
Please come.
From the perspective of history,
Right.
we
Sir,
both
sir.
seem to be, okay. See, the kings in India were also called Gajapati.
Yeah.
You know, this is a point which I mentioned in your book, but both of you are foresters.
Yeah.
You don't seem to bring in the aspect.
Yeah.
You know, Gajapati being the name for a king. And the second very interesting thing about elephants is that the only time Yudhishthir did not speak the whole truth was with relation to elephants. Ashwatthama.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So these are some very interesting facets which you find in Sanjeev's
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
which
It is
I
there.
thought
It is
Sanjeev or Sumitra would bring out.
Sir,
But
actually-
because you are foresters,
Yeah.
you do not want to get out of the forest.
One
So I
more
have
thing.
to-
We have a bias to
Yeah.
the
You know, bias to the
conservation.
forest. But you see, in a country where Ganesh is so important,
Yeah.
and the book was released around the time of Ganesh Puja. So I thought it's a very fascinating book, and also because, as you mentioned, there are some measures that have been taken in Uttarakhand, which have been fairly positive. So I think a lot of things, but the most important thing about this book is that it brings to the fore a discussion, which is so very important.
Yeah.
And I think the title is also very significant, Jambus on the Edge. So when you are on the edge, it means that you can either step down or you can step back and ensure that the ring and the circumference increases. So I think, and I hope
Yeah.
that the book will be a very seminal contribution
Yeah.
to the world of wildlife
Yeah.
and to the world of human beings
Yes.
and to the discussions around. So thank
Yeah.
you very much,
Thank you,
Sanjeev
thank
and Sumitra.
Thank
It's
you.
really wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you
So
so much.
let me first again thank WOW and NAFED. We are proud of our association with WOW. We have been associated. So, Mr. Sanjeev Chopra, he was also briefly, 3 times he was a managing director of NAFED. So, and it's basically from our side, it's whatever support we can give in
No, there are many steps that have been proposed here, which is a good reading for non-foresters also. You know, for honeybee, keeping honeybee, using tiger urine to repel the elephant. You know, there are many things that can be done. Actually, it churns of, ideas, imagination.
If only collecting tiger urine was as simple as
And it was tried in Bengal. It was tried in Bengal about 20 years back. And it didn't succeed that way, but it's still being tried in some other parts of the country.
We still
वो दिखा सकते हैं film
we still have a video which has been provided by the author, which we would like to play, which is on elephant
It's
conservation.
only 2 minutes. Yeah, we can show.
Yes, please, we can just
We can
watch
close
this
with that video, sir.
India is home to one of the most iconic species of wildlife in the world, the Asiatic elephant. Our country's forests hold more than 30,000 elephants, which is 60% of the world's Asiatic elephant population. Elephants are an integral part of our culture and heritage. They are revered as the living incarnation of Lord Ganesha, remover of obstacles. The habitats of elephants are crucial carbon sinks that help sequester atmospheric carbon dioxide. Elephants and their habitats are our best line of defense in the face of climate change. Recognizing their social, cultural, religious and ecological importance, the Government of India declared elephants as India's national heritage animal. But India's ever-increasing population, combined with forest fragmentation and habitat loss, has led to the collision of the worlds of elephants and people. Every year, over 500 people are killed and lakhs worth of property are destroyed when elephants enter human habitations. Humans are not the only casualties. Elephants are victims too. Human-elephant conflict has become a major cause of concern for our government. Elephants require vast stretches of forest for their survival. Their long-ranging habits inevitably bring them in direct contact with humans, leading to conflict. Addressing these issues has been a major cause of concern for our government. Forest departments are working round the clock to nurture a healthy coexistence between elephants and people. They are finding innovative and diverse ways to facilitate the reduction of conflict. The department has been adopting habitat enrichment methods to ensure there is adequate food and water. With their survival needs met, there is a reduced chance of elephants wandering out of these forested areas. In areas where the forests are fragmented and wildlife corridors are thin, elephants sometimes move out of non-protected areas as they try to cross over into neighboring patches of forest, or sometimes to raid crop fields. In these cases, the department adopts different strategies to keep elephants inside the boundaries of protected areas. Simultaneously, they also work to improve the overall health of corridors. In places where elephants frequently come into human habitations, the Forest Department has devised ways to guide the animals back into the forests. The methods use highly trained forest staff with customized equipment to divert the elephants back into the protected areas. It also involves daily monitoring and tracking of elephants to aid in rapid response if necessary. In situations where elephants have entered residential areas and people's lives are at stake, the Forest Department shifts to a crisis management mode. Rapid response, precise communication, and effective execution of protocols are critical to the safety of all. The department takes measures to de-escalate the situation to avoid untoward incidents. After the conflict is resolved, they engage with the affected people and arrange for compensation of damages. To prevent conflict from happening in the first place, early warning systems have been adopted in many locations. The Forest Department innovatively uses technology to warn people of elephant presence, thus preventing the chance of an accident. Any successful conflict mitigation program requires the participation and cooperation of all stakeholders. The Forest Department runs numerous programs to educate people about the right way to deal with elephants when they enter human habitations. This includes training of responders, stakeholders, and the general public, who can be valuable allies in the journey to reduce elephant-human conflict. Elephants are an integral part of the tropical forest ecosystem. They are flagships of biodiversity conservation. As humanity grapples with the vagaries of climate change and life-crippling zoonotic diseases, conservation of elephants and their biodiverse habitats assumes greater importance. India is committed to the cause of elephant conservation, but more importantly, towards paving the way to a future where people and elephants can coexist in harmony.
May I now please request Mr. Sanjeev Chopra to come up and present the Uttariyas.
Has come all the way, sir, from Delhi.
And with this very important subject and very important book, we bring our first edition of Wow Kolkata to an end. And we'd like to end with a very warm thank you and deep appreciation to all the various organizations and people who have helped make this possible. We of course have the ICC and Bengal Club, who are absolutely integral to the rollout and the hosting of this festival, and we'd like to thank WOW would like to thank them. In addition, we'd like to thank Mr. Shotobrato Mukherjee, who has been one person who has really sort of glued the whole thing together with his indefatigable energy and interest and dedication. And we would also like to mention specially Mr. Ridesh Mohan and Mr. Abhinav Chandra, who have also been wonderful sources of support and help to the festival. All the sponsors who have come forward to support the festival are also worthy of our deepest gratitude. And on that note, I'd like to invite Mr. Mukherjee to say a few words to conclude this festival.